Hi, I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins. Welcome to Financial Lovemaking. This is where we talk about love, life, money, and everything in between. I'm here with my buddy, my partner, and my co-host, the entertainment editor at Ebony Magazine, Miss S. Tia Brown. How you doing today, Tia?
I'm doing great. How are you today?
I'm doing really well. Now, you and I were talking about our latest topic, which is really exciting. It's interesting news. It's great news, but I think it's worthy of discussion. Janks Morton, a filmmaker who made the film Hoodwinked, actually did some really good data analysis to debunk some myths that people have had about African Americans and their commitment to education. And what Janks found, among many things, is that black women are actually the most educated group of people in America. And the measuring stick he uses is the percentage of black women who are enrolled in college. I want to say that according to a study, which people can read on naturallymoa.com, among other places, he says 9.7% of black women are in college, which puts them, I think, a full percentage point ahead of Asian women. And then white women are further down the list, which, stunned a lot of people, made a lot of people proud. I think it reshapes the perception of African American women. What did you think when you saw this?
I mean, I think we always have like stereotypes about who different groups are, and when you interact with people on a regular basis, I think, and pay attention, you see these being true. Like I know that a lot of women, not just in my circle, but that I come in contact with, are pursuing higher education. What was surprising to me about this study wasn't the fact that so many women are pursuing higher degrees. It's actually that so few people actually have degrees. Like overall, it's like 20% of the population, I think, in this study. It shows that a large majority of people are not pursuing higher education. And that, to me, was the most surprising point. People will talk about the disparity between the percentage of women, black women, which is 9.7 according to this study, and black men, which is 7.1. And while it is a little bit higher than a 2-point difference, it's not the gaping difference that people like to, again, stereotype that it's, half or, so I'm not particularly moved in any way about the study and besides thinking like, okay, this is kind of what I'm seeing in everyday real life. I think there's a stereotype that, there's a bunch of professional black women and not enough black men to go around. And so everybody's going to have to be gay if they want a partner. Oh. And that's just not the case. However, we cannot belittle the fact that a 2% difference does impact, the numbers overall. So when we look at that, it's like, you have, let's say if each percentage point represented 100,000 women, you have more than 250,000 women who have higher degrees than men available in that pool. And so it does become a problem there. When we talk about dating and mixing finances and love and romance and what you're looking for, a lot of people want someone who has similar experiences as they do. So having gone to college, having, invested a certain amount of years in building a certain type of career so you can build together. So I do think that that does present some kind of issue, those women who may fall into the gap. What do you think?
I have a whole different perspective in that I'm very excited about this. I'm excited for black women because I just think that this shows that as a collective, for those who are doing well, they are pushing and really doing really well. We know everybody's not doing well. You can find a whole lot of examples on the internet of that. But I think that if you look at those women that are leading the pack, I think there's a clear difference between where black men and black women are. I can just say that when I go and I'm trying to hire people, it's easier to find qualified black women than it is to find qualified black men. It doesn't mean that black men can't do the job. And I hire a lot of black men to work with me. But, in terms of that, and I've talked to other black men about this, and I'm just going to be candid about the conversations we had. I talked to another guy who runs a major media outlet, bigger than Your Black World. And he said, it's like, he said, when we hire the sisters, and many of them that we hire, they're on point. They do what you need done. They are precise about the work. You don't always see that as much on the other side because I think, honestly, if you look culturally, what's kind of sucked up black men a little bit is media presenting imagery that inclines us to want to be athletes or entertainers or sometimes just whatever, you know.
So the cool factor.
The cool factor, yeah.
I mean, necessarily that we don't have a significant number of men going to college. Of course, we want there to be parity in the percentages, but it's also those who have been prepared are not socially adapting to corporate America or professionalism. No, and that's really what you're speaking to.
It's professionalism. I think it's a commitment to education over committing to other things. Right. I can just say this. I interviewed a kid named Warren Cassell. That was his name yesterday. Warren Cassell Jr. He lives on the island of Montserrat in the Caribbean. It's a British territory there. And Warren is 15 years old. He is 1 year away from finishing high school, and because he started school early. He's written 2 books. He's founded one company that's worth millions of dollars. I kid you not. And he's opening an investment firm. And talking to this kid was so different from talking to a lot of the young black male teenagers that I meet here. Not because they can't do it. Hold on, wait. Not because we don't have examples of excellence in the black male space. We do. Right down the street, Urban Prep Academy, which sends 100% of its kids to colleges, is right there. But that's not the majority. That's not the media influence that black kids are getting. A lot of the black males are getting this influence that says, if I want to be rich, I want to rap, I want to play basketball or whatever. And what happens is we overinvest in that, in this losing battle, this thing that's never going to pay us anything, and underinvest in education. Black women don't grow up thinking they're going to make a living in the NBA or make an album, making records. They know that education is their pathway to success, and you see them following that in droves. And I think we can learn something from that.
So I think that when we see statistics like this, we get really excited. But the fact is that this is still less than 10% of black women even going to college. So let's just really keep that in big picture. So we still have 90% in both groups not following that path. Wait. But what I don't like is when people use an exception to define what the masses should be doing. I do not disagree with your point in terms of there needs to be more focus on education, more focus on professionalism, more focus on having a dream besides being a pro ball player or a rap star, or a drug dealer, because some people still aspire to just do that. But you can't use Warren as an example because he is an exceptional in
Warren is an exception, but what I noticed is that when I asked him about his environment, tell me about your friends, tell me about your family, there was a difference there, and it came from the fact that he lives on a Caribbean island and wasn't influenced by what young black males are exposed to in America.
I agree with that.
If he brought up here, he'd be a different person.
I agree. I think that there's a different standard of what masculinity is in different cultures across the black diaspora. So I'm not disagreeing with you on that at all. I think that African American men, boys by and large, are shown things that define manhood that normal people in different cultures are not. And we talk about this all the time. So we're on the same point there. I don't disagree with you at all. And I do think that part of making sure that our men are groomed to be successful and competitive is making sure that not only that those boys who get to a 4-year institution or a 2-year institution receive great training academically, but they also need that professional training, right? They need to know, now that you have the degree, that's not enough. And the truth is, there's a big difference when socially you're taught to be cool, and then we don't have the family infrastructure that reinforces, this is what a man can look like.
But yeah, and I agree. I mean, because a lot of the boys don't have the father in the home to teach them fatherhood or to teach them manhood. And most children have their mother in the home, so there is a different example there, right?
Right.
What I'll say too, though, is that even though you're talking about less than 10% of the population, I think it means more than just 10% because most people actually don't graduate from college, but most people go to college for at least a couple years. If you ask most people out here, they won't say that they have a college degree, but they'll say, "Oh, I went to school for 2 years until this happened, until I got pregnant, until I decided to take a semester off, which turned into 20 years, until I left because I wanted to go make some money." That's what tends to happen, and so my argument is that I think we have to humble ourselves as black men and realize that there's a lot that we can learn from black women, because we're disrupting the balance of the family when that little black boy and little black girl start at the same place, maybe the same type of family, and when they hit 27, marriable age, she's got an MBA and he's still, playing Xbox in his mama's basement hoping to get a record deal, right?
Well, I don't think it's about even just learning from black women, because we know that there are tons of great black women in these households, and there are tons of great black men in households too. I never want to subscribe to the stereotype. I think, however, black men have to look to all men to set examples of what manhood should be. So not just the Lil Wayne or the Jay-Z or the Michael Jordan. You also have to look at the Bob Johnson, the John H. Johnson, and then men in other cultures too, to exemplify what masculinity can be. Because I can't teach a man how to be a man. As a great and wonderful and beautiful and snatched of a woman as I am, when my when my nephews look at me, they don't look at emulating me because they don't want to be women. So we have to be really clear on understanding that that's what men need to see. Boys need to see other men. There's certain things that they can get from me, and just like there's certain things that I could get from a great man. But when I look at defining who I want to be in the future, it's never like a man. So men don't look at women. Boys don't look at women to say, this is who I want to become. Unless,
right. That trend is changing. Let's just be clear, right? Because we're now getting.
But by large, I think that this is the thing that we really need to start talking about. Other men who can be great examples of manhood, and really, like, in the community at large, when we always put celebrities on a higher standard, or like famous businessmen, but the men in your community, like, every man is not going to be able to meet, a Bob Johnson, but there's a guy in your neighborhood, or there's a man who knows that he's like one of the better stand-up guys in the neighborhood. Start talking to the guys, the boys that you see, say hello, ask them about their lives, just be an example to them of what manhood could be. And that's where the change starts.
Well, I agree. But also remember this. We're not just talking about manhood. We're really talking about educational achievement, right? And educational excellence, which is alignment. It's sort of correlated with manhood, but it's not always the same thing, right? And also remember that we're not just talking about institutional educational achievement. There are other ways to be educated besides going to college. There are other ways to be successful besides going to college. In fact, now, because the economy's changed so much, there are some people where I just say, I think you're better off not going to college, because if you know how to, for example, do something similar to what Warren did and become a great entrepreneur, then maybe that is your university, right?
But Boyce, your premise is flawed only because we see from the last 2 decades that women modeling education and professionalism doesn't work on men. If it did, we wouldn't be in this situation.
Wait. What do you mean? I don't understand what you mean. What are you saying?
You're saying that men can look at women, and we're not talking about manhood, we're talking about education overall and professionalism. But what I'm saying is that women have been the heads of households doing these things over the last 2 decades since the marriage rate has dropped, and it has not transitioned to their sons.
Well, it hasn't transitioned, but I have to tell you why it hasn't transitioned. It's because when I'm a young black male and I'm seeing examples of economic success, I'm not seeing, the black men who've made millions of dollars. They don't get the airplay. I'm not seeing the educated attorneys and doctors. I'm seeing the Forbes list of the 5 wealthiest rappers. I see Birdman. But let's go down the list. You got Dr. Dre. I grew up as a gangster. Now I'm making $1 billion. You've got Birdman, tattoos on his face. I've killed people. I've got $1 billion. You go down the list. You got the Lil Wayne types. That's what a lot of young brothers are seeing, and I think that's what's straying us. Because let's be clear, and I'm not saying that we don't need a man in the household. We do, and I hate the fact that you've got extremists who are saying no, fathers are not necessary. I'll be damned if they're not. They are. We need to keep fathers in the home if we can. If we can't get a male role model because you want your son to grow up to be a man, not to be like the man that disappointed you in your life, right? But that's beside the point. But let me get back to where I was with that. I think that we can learn from black women to a point. I can say that my greatest influence in my life, my first finance professor was my late grandmother who just died last year. But she's also the one who told me, get as much education as you can. Find a career that you love. Those were principles that stay with me for the rest of my life. So mothers have a role. There's no person that a man is more loyal to. I was telling the story to a young single mom yesterday who was having baby daddy issues. And I said, look, there's no person on earth that a boy is going to be more loyal to than his mama. You know, for all these athletes, as soon as they sign their little NBA contract, they're like, I want to thank Jesus and my mama, right? So, you know, so I think that the mother has a role, but I agree with you, though, that, you know, we need the male role models in there. We need to attack these laws that are sending so many of the fathers to prison. You know, and all this, I think, plays itself out in what you're seeing educationally. And ultimately, at the end of the day, if we want to stabilize families, we've got to push that energy toward black men to say, look, grab any example you can. Let's look at black women and all the great things they're doing. We can be just as great. We just have to apply ourselves in the right way. We're already applying ourselves, but don't apply yourself to the basketball court. Apply yourself to them books. That's what's going to get you ahead in this world.
Okay, I agree with most of your points, but I'd like to hear what our readers have to say. So, write us and let us know what you think on this topic. It's great talking to you, arguing with you as always, Dr. Watkins. Have a wonderful day.
And of course, I'm right.
Whatever.
Take care.
Bye. Have a great day.
All right, bye-bye.